Hey guys, welcome to another review. I am Mr. P and today I'm going to be doing a nice little RDA. This is from Cigar.es. Mario, again, very kindly sent this down, thank you very much. So let's get straight into it. What I'm doing today is the Tobacco Vertex. Dripping atomizer is what I'm doing today, so it's a clone obviously, don't like it, off you go. But that's what I'm doing today. So, Vertex, now I've seen quite a bit about this, a few bits and bobs that I was like, well, okay, it's different, but I'm interested. So, that's what I'm doing. I think what I'm going to do, guys, is literally straight away just throw you down on the table and let's have a go. Before I do though, first things first, €14 is what this is going to cost you, so just a touch over tenner, love that. So yeah, let's stick it down on the table, we shall show you what it's about and what you get inside, and then come back up to me and do what I do. Right guys, a little close up of the Vertex RDA clone. So that's what we're doing, Vertex. This is Tobacco, obviously. I would have said this in the intro that I haven't filmed yet because I'm sneaky. Right, okay, so Vertex by Tobacco. First of all, comes in a little box as you can see here. Lovely jubbly. So let me just have a little look around and let's crack on. So relevant markings, Tobacco, you know, it's a presentation box, but you know, it's a box none the same. Now let's open her up and see what goodies she contains. So Allen key and a bag for the Allen key. As you can tell, I've been at it. And then in we go, we've got the RDA itself, and what's this in here? Give it a little pull. Okay, and in here we've got some, it feels like candle, and some silica. I've said this before, you know, silica in these kind of things really is getting a little bit outdated. You know, they might want to update these to cotton, you know, Tobacco and whoever else it is that's releasing these atomizers at the time. But, you know, you get wicking material with it, so if it was your first purchase, you could build a coil in it, no problem whatsoever, and that's what we're talking about. So, let's take the AE out first of all, and get rid of the packaging. So, Vertex, let's see how we go together. Let's grab it, and my dear, Mr. P's finger strength. Ugh. Right, okay, so we've got the top cap off, that's the most important one, and then let me just push out this, very tight this, just in case you were wondering if you can't tell, very very tight on there. That's relevant in a second and I'll show you that. Let me see if I can grab a screwdriver and give her a push on the relevant part of the deck. Now, I don't remember this being this tight when I first got it out, but you know, basically I may well have washed it, stuck it back together, and the O-rings have dried off a little bit since then. So that's not a great sign. We've got a bit of O-ring wear there. You don't get spares unfortunately, but let us crack on, we shall persist. Where are we going to start? We'll start here. So, top cap, Vertex, first of all. 510 drip tip goes in there, and every and any one that I've tried fits spot on. Single O-ring here, holding this obviously into your main body. And then in the top cap itself, you've got 1, 2, and 3 airflow holes. So, single and dual coil. Along the back here you've got a serial 2585, I believe, yep, 2585, that's pretty cool. Solid stainless steel, this is very heavy for the size of it, and then you've got a domed top cap in there, which is lovely stuff, increases flavour, so that's awesome, I do like that. Onto the body sleeve. Now there is a relevant way for this to go. As you can see, your air holes are higher up one side than the other, so make sure you put it on the right way. And then in there you've got 2 air holes all the way through, so if I do that you should be able to see Allen key there, you can just. So obviously the idea is that you put, you know, your 1 air hole if you wanted a single, like so, and then the back blocked off. Okay, much like the Zenith. And if you did want to go dual, then you just want to give it a twist until your air holes are around here, and then voila. Now obviously you haven't got to have this full open. If you wanted to, you could block off half, you could block off all of it if you wanted to, or nearly all of it, you know, to give you your preferred draw. So that's pretty cool. Now into the deck. Let's start at the base. Obviously guys, as you can tell, it's a polished Atty. At the base we've got a non-adjustable 510 connection just there. It does slightly protrude, but not by much, so you know you will make connection, but it might not protrude for some of those narrow 510 connections we've got. Other than that, we've got a big O-ring here holding our body, sorry guys, pardon me, holding our body sleeve on, and then we go into the deck. Now you've got this. Now for those of you who don't know what this is, you wouldn't, you know, be confused for knowing, but okay, well what we'll do is we'll look at this first of all. You go in here, you've got a monumental drip well. It's actually very, very large. The idea is you can use this like that, okay, to reduce the size of the chamber and therefore give you increased flavour. So what you can do is remove that and give yourself more juice well, or plop it in, give yourself increased flavour. So that is cool. I don't care what anyone, that is cool. It's a very, very simple thing that, and obviously the credit I suppose goes to, you know, not to the clone but the original, but it's a cool thing to have the option for. And then into the deck. Now loads of room around the outside edge here, obviously to make room for that washer, but that also means there's plenty of room for your wick if that's what you're wanting to do. Posts are very close together, and as this would hint, these are Allen keys. Now some love and some hate them. Personally, I'm in a love camp. I find once they're down, they are down and they're not going anywhere. On the back note of that though, I have found this Allen key isn't the best. I've been using this one here, which is actually from my Fortune mod, and it is a far better Allen key. But let's face it, you can pick up a set of Allen keys for £1 now, you know, and most of us who have got this kind of gear will have them already. So what I'm going to do very quickly, I'm going to chuck this onto the mod, and that's right, hybrid adapter's coming up because I want to put it on the Fortune. I love this mod, even still after all this time, I love this mod. It's one of my favourites. So I'm just going to put our hybrid adapter on so we can put her on the mod. As you can see, I've got a coil in it, single coil, because I'm a single coil kind of guy, but there's nothing wrong with it. So it seems like a pointless thing for me to be chopping and changing it constantly when I really have no need. So what I'm going to do is just grab a bottle of juice in preparation, because I'm being advanced and head of the ball, that kind of thing. So we'll light her up. That's 0.5 Canthal. It's about a 10 rep, 8 to 10 rep, you know, so we're looking at around about half an ohm. And all we're going to do very quickly is chuck some cotton and get her up and vaping. So first of all, I am going to use this. I find that this dripper holds a decent amount of e-liquid even with that in, so I'm going to plop that in there. Okay, in fact I can bring you in a bit for this if you like. And then just a standard bit of cotton that we need, like so. You know, most of us would have made cotton wick, but just in case you haven't, just grab it, give it a little twist and a roll, tie it at one end, go around that way, and then put it through. And as you're putting through, you start to get a bit of resistance, and then give it a twist like so until you get just enough resistance to hold it in place but not too tight, importantly. And then we'll grab our little scissors and chop that there, chop that there. Sorry about the vibrating in the background guys, no doubt that's the admin on the Facebook group, or I'm just being harassed by God knows who, probably me boss. So there we go. Now all I'm going to do very quickly is juice up this wick. Sorry, this is simple stuff. You know, this is really day one to RDAs, but give it a bit of juice. I'm actually going to stick this around the back here. Use e-liquid to keep it there for me. I mean, even with this ring in place, you've still got a massive well here. You can see me pouring juice in that. You've still got a big old well there. You know, so it's still got more than ample, you know, room for dripping. I found even with the ring in, this thing will take 12, 14 drops, which I think for a 22mm dripper that's got a massive chamber reducer in there is respectable, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And then that is that. All we need to do now is obviously line up one of our air holes. It's totally up to you which. So just pop on our body and then rotate it until we're in line, which is, you know, around about there. Okay, And then obviously, because we're going single coil, much like the Zenith, you know, make sure you're using a single coil air hole. You'll be like, that's quite loose and I'm not getting too much flavour and it's quite throat hitty. That'll be because you've got 2 air holes open. And then plonk a drip tip in. Very, very quick, very, very simple. So what I'm going to do now is going to come back up to me, have a nice little vape on that. Right guys, welcome back to me. I had a little change of heart and I'm running this on the e-cig with a nice purple drip tip. So yeah, I didn't fancy running it on the full tune. I changed my mind. I wanted to be able to ramp the power up a bit more if I chose to. So, Vertex. As you see in the close-up, it's a lovely looking little thing, it really is. You know, the work on it's done very well. You know, the laser etching could be slightly better, but it's not bad at all. You know, the polishing is nice. Zenith styly, you know, 2 airflow, 1 airflow, but I love that. I'm a single coil guy. I'm a firm believer that duals really don't offer you anything unless you're going below 0.2 ohms. That's just my opinion. You know, serialized, it's a clone, so it's not really relevant, but you know, it's there. The body I found to fit on quite tight, if I'm perfectly honest with you, but I will cover more of that as we go on. Let me have a little vape. Lovely. Right, so I think we're going to move straight into the 5-point hit list that I'm doing. Actually, I'm going to do 6-point hit list on this. A 6-point hit list that we do, and yeah, we'll cover anything that may be relevant in that time. So first of all, looks. Now I think it's an awesome looking little thing. 22mm dripper, dual, single, you know, all that kind of stuff. Looks is a 10. I looked it on the site and I kind of thought it looks okay. When it's in front of you, it looks better, I think anyway. It goes quite nicely. It's quite a short dripper. If you've got something like the Vertex, it's a lot smaller than that. You know, the Vertex I find to be quite tall, whereas this, if you're going for a short setup, this is perfect. So thumbs up for that. I think the styling, you know, the Vertex, you know, it's done, you know, subtly, which again, not necessarily credit to the clone, but you know, I like it, and I'm holding this one, so that's what I'm doing. The looks for me is a 10. Okay, it's a polished Daddy, so just bear that in mind if you've got SS brushed mods and whatever you're going to run it on. But other than that, no, it's a 10. I think it looks great, really do. Usability, well, Allen key first of all. Now I prefer Allen keys, but I do not like having to have the Allen keys, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I'm not a big fan of carrying them around because I always forget which is for which, and you kind of spend 5 minutes looking through them all, which is why people don't like them. But in terms of if you've got the right Allen key on you and whatever else, it's a much better system. It really is. You get more purchase, you don't damage them. They definitely stay locked tight a lot longer than screws do. They don't come undone on me. You know, so that in itself for me is a bonus, but for some may be a drawback. The posts are quite close together to allow for that ring, which we'll get onto, for allow to the ring to get sort of over the top, which for some people may find more difficult, I guess. I can't see it, to be honest with you. In fact, I find it a lot more difficult if the posts are too far apart than if they're too close together. But you know, it's something to bear in mind. Other than that, it's a dripping atomizer. You bung a coil in, chuck some cotton in, and you're away. So you know, usability is a 10. It really is. It's not any really difference to this and like a Zenith, or you know, it's to some extent, I mean, a Tobe, if you could do a single on a Tobe, so it's more usable than that. So yeah, usability for me is a 10. Let me try. Maintenance is what would be next for me. There's very little to maintain. Again, it's a dripper. Maintenance is always a 10, and it gets points off if something crops up. Nothing's cropped up. You know, you've got 4 parts: the deck, the top cap, you've got your body section, and then you've got your ring that slots over the base. They're all big, none of them going down a sink. It's all easy to clean. The only thing is a bit hard to get off at times is the body from the deck, but it's nowhere near as hard as some have been. Stick new cotton in it, maintain your coil. It's a 10. There is nothing wrong with this in terms of maintenance whatsoever. You know, your 510 drip tip at the top. I know this isn't relevant to maintenance, but I'll go over it now whilst I remember. It fits every drip tip that I've tried in it. Yeah, there's nothing you need to be aware of that you can't tell yourself by having a look at it, if I'm perfectly honest with you. just have a little re-drip before we move on to build quality and price. Build quality and price. The build quality, I think, is pretty damn good. The posts seem fine, you know, everything sticks together quite nicely, the O-rings are good. Like I said, the body is very fractionally too tight for my liking, but better to be too tight than to be too loose, because you can lube up the O-rings to compensate for that. The 510's spot on, no problem with that whatsoever. It's built very well, you know, so I'm going to give it a 10 for build quality. Price, this is just over a 10 for crying out loud. It's a pack of fags nearly in certain places as much as this, so you know the price is a 10. You're getting a great little dripper for just over a tenner. Yeah, this price versus build quality is a 10. Great stuff. Flavour and vapour, this is where it gets interesting for me, because this is a higher VG juice in my opinion, but it's definitely not a max VG juice. This is sort of 60% maybe, I'd say. On the single core now, I'm running this at 33 watts, so it's not, I mean I could ramp this right up to 50 and produce more, but I don't feel the need to. The vapour's a 10 easily. It's got dual core capabilities, single core capabilities, and you can do what you like with it. The airflow, 2.5 mil, 3 mil maybe even, depending on, you know, just how hard you pull. But yeah, around a 3 mil draw that feels like to me. So sorry, I've just taken in a bit of juice. Around a 3 mil draw that feels to me, which is more than capable of blowing clouds. This is more than, you know, a loose draw, if you like a slightly loose draw, you know. And if you like it tighter, just knock off half the air hole, or knock off 2/3 or 3/4, whatever it is you need to get to the air hole height size that you like. There you go, it's fully adjustable from as open to as closed as you like. So you can have as much vapour as you want to, depending on what resistance you put in it and what size air holes you've allowed it. So vapour's definitely a 10. Now flavour, you've got the added bonus for this, you've got a dome top cap, which we know increases flavour, so that's good on paper straight away. And you've also then got the ring that you put in, which actually reduces the chamber. Now again, this has long been established that a reduced chamber gives you an increased flavour. So these are both good things. The flavour in this is definitely a 10. This is a stunning flavour from this, it really is. It's a great vape. Better than the Zenith, better than the Taube, in my opinion better than the Vertex. Flavour's spectacular, the flavour's a 10. The fact that you can increase that flavour with that ring, which I have chosen to do, again, is even better. It's a 10 without the ring, so with the ring it's an improved on that flavour, which is spot on. I mean, it's great. The flavour, this is what this is about. The flavour is great, and I do want to say as well, even with that ring installed, because obviously, you know, you can install it to increase your flavour, or you can remove it to increase your juice capacity. Now I'd imagine if you're running joules, then obviously you're probably going to want to remove it to give yourself that extra juice, but if not, adding that extra coil and wicker materials reduce that chamber even more. So you've got the ability to do that now. But even with the ring installed, it's 8 drops, maybe even a little bit more. You know, I just half filled a dropper and squeezed it in, but 8 to 10 drops even with that in. So with it not in, with the ring removed, it's, you know, a good 15 drops. For an atomizer of this size, this height, you know, 22 mil, most would be flooding at 10 drops, you know. This just doesn't. This is fucking great, it really is. Now, overall for this, there are a few things to be considered, as I've said. You know, the ring for one is great, but you've got, if you do decide to run it without it, you've got to keep track of it, which can be a downside. I mean, I'm pretty good with that to some extent. You know, if I took it out, I'd put it back in its box, but you know, it's something in there to be aware of. Also, be aware on what kind of coils you like to run with that ring as well, because if you like to run things like your macros, make sure that ring's already in there, because otherwise you're not getting in. I mean, if you may be able to squeeze it in, but you're going to struggle, especially if you've got 2 coils. If you're dual coiling this, get that ring in beforehand, save yourself a headache, because otherwise I don't think it will go in. So that's something, I mean, to bear in mind. Other than that, I mean, I find if you put a metal drip tip in this and you really ramp it up, the heat does transfer a little bit, but it's metal touching metal. It's going to, you know, this hasn't got a dole insulator like the Zenith has. It hasn't got the fins at the top like the Taube has. But because of that, it's a smaller design. I like smaller 80s. My drip tip's bigger than this 80 is in terms of height, and you don't get just how small it is. Let me see what I've got to. I've only got things that are ridiculously big at hand, to be honest with you. This is T5, an Arga T5. I mean, look at this. There, that's base to base. There, look at the size difference. It's massive. The X Pro Pontus again, you know, and that is a dripper. I mean, it's got a tank, but that is a dripper. It is a small 80, and I like that. I think the price is spot on. I mean, a lot of these drippers on Spain Cigar, about the Taube, the Zenith, you know, the Vertex, all this kind of price, you know, which is a steal. You know, you could get 10 drippers for a $1. Lovely. I think the price is spot on. The vape is the main thing. It really is. Get that ring in, get it on a single coil, choose your juice, put it on your preferred setting, and just puff away, because there is definitely a flavour increase in this dripper with that ring, and there is definitely a flavour increase on this dripper compared to others. This is the best flavour I've had in quite a while, from nothing but the 80 alone, you know, without tailoring the build or the juice. But if I put everything into my preference, the 80 alone's making the difference, and this is definitely the best I've had in quite a while. Yeah, it's a cracking little 80, guys. I suggest you pick one up if you like dripping atomizers, because it's going to do you well. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Obviously, I'm about to end. Thank you to you guys at Spain Cigar for sending this over to me to play with. I'm really glad you did, because I'm enjoying that very much. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I've been Mr. P. I shall see you soon.